What is going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing well, and thanks so much as always for watching. On my desk, because it fits, is an all-tube 20-watt amplifier. It is the new REVV D20 Mark II. This is an excellent sounding, as I mentioned, 20-watt amplifier, 6v6 power section. It is all tube, so you've got 12AX7s in the preamp section. This amp, being the Mark II, is based on the original D20. That amp I personally consider like a workhorse player's amp in that it's all tube 20 watt. If you want to plug it into a cab, it's going to be great in most kind of small to medium club style venues. On top of that, it's got all of the 2 notes reactive load and IR capability, which made it even that much more just easy to use, because if you showed up on the gig, it's an in-ear gig. You can literally go to the reactive load, run XLR out. You already know how your cabs are going to sound, and you're off to the races. Pick all your favorite pedals on your board and just have at it. Now, the Mark II has some revisions based on customer input, really. There were things that, I personally, I love my D20, but there were things about it that I thought could be changed, and they did every single one of them. So the first thing being that it had a gain boost, right, on the first volume. So you could go clean, or you could pull that out and you'd get a gain boost. I felt like that should be foot switchable if at all possible. So that's been employed, which is really, really cool. Another feature that I personally wanted was an actual kind of bright switch, because I found I was employing the gain boost, not because I wanted more gain necessarily. It's because I wanted more kind of like a little bit more open top end. And so I would pull that gain out and then adjust the gain down so it'd be clean enough to use as a pedal platform. Now that there's a bright switch, I can employ the gain literally as a foot switchable option, but still have the top end that I want. Another nice feature is that they've added reverb. Everybody that played the amp, basically, especially once the D25 combo came out, was why doesn't the D20 have reverb? So now it has, I believe, the same digital reverb that's on the D25. It sounds really great, and we will check that out in the demo. It's a new aesthetic for sure. I'm loving the wood enclosure, the Tolex. I think that looks really great. I like the new switches. Instead of being push buttons, they're actual toggle switches. Now, sonically, I don't think it makes any difference. It's just fully aesthetic to me. I just think that looks really, really nice. So let's just go across what's on the front of the amplifier. You got your input, gain, treble, mid, bass, volume, and reverb potentiometers. All the way to the right here is your level potentiometer. That's going to be for the direct out. I'm not going to be demoing it that way. I'm going to demo it on the mics, because that's how I want you guys to hear this thing. The rotary switch next to it allows you to switch between 6 factory loaded cabs. They're the same cabs that were on the D20. You can obviously load your own IRs in there and assign them to any one of those. But as I mentioned, I want you guys to hear this through the cab. You have your headphone out, which is now an 1/8 inch, which makes sense because I don't own a set of in-ears or cans that actually is a 1/4 inch. What's on the back of this thing? Okay, so obviously, you've got your AC input there. You've got your fuse. You got cab lighting, so if you want to light up a Rev cab, you can. You've got your MIDI in. You've got your outboard bias points, which is really nice. If you know how to bias, you can change the tubes really easily. You have your USB out, which is, once again, for accessing via editing software. You have a ground lift. There's your balanced out, so you can run direct to front of house, or your DAW, the foot switch in. So now you can actually foot switch the reverb and the gain boost. So that's your foot switch in for that. You have effects loop, send and return, that always sounds great. You can choose between 20 or 4 watts. You have your ohm selector, so you can choose between 4 and 8 ohm cabs, speaker output, and last but not least, you can choose between using the internal load, which is the reactive load the 2 notes reactive load, or if you throw the switch down, you can run that out to your speaker. Oh, one thing I do want to say is when I first was writing the song for this, I plugged in my Death Star because I know how well this thing takes pedals, and it was sounding great. Everything sounded great through it, but the more I played through it, the more I realized you guys aren't going to be hearing this amp. If I do this, you're going to be hearing a bunch of pedals through a really nice pedal platform amp, and I think this amp is more than that. So I had to completely shift gears, turn off the pedal board, save some money on the electricity bill, and just run straight into this thing and see what I could get out of it as a standalone. The only pedals I did end up employing is I used a tilt boost pedal for the very last solo. That's the Rev tilt boost, a clean boost with a tilt EQ. And I used a tremolo pedal for, I believe it was the Les Paul, the clean tone. Other than that, no pedals were harmed in the making of that song. Full disclosure, any delays that you hear in the track are the delay that I always use in Pro Tools for every single demo. So if you hear delays, that's actually in Pro Tools. The way it's mic'd up is with a Shure SM57 and a Royer R10 mic combo. The cabinet is in another room, and it's my Bogner 2x12 closed back, and it's got Celestions in it. Like I said, I really wanted you guys to hear this thing on the mics. Okay, let's go. All right, let's listen to some sounds. I'm going to start with everything set to noon and just kind of dial from there. Okay, so that to me sounds really sweet. What I did there is I started everything at noon. It was a little dark, obviously, so you turn up the treble, roll some lows out, and just kind of keep tweaking accordingly. But what I really like about the new Mark II is the bright switch. Once I turned that on, it gave me all kinds of room to move with how I address the top end on the amplifier. Like, that's still pretty sweet, and honestly that could work as a pedal platform. I would want it maybe a little brighter, and in this case, instead of having it go quite as bright, that's beautiful. I would just turn the treble down a little bit. So now it's a little bit more toppy, because what I was doing, and I think I explained it before, I was always using the boost switch because I could get more top end, and then I would just turn the volume way down so I'd still have some clean headroom. In this case, I no longer have to do that. So now it's actually a foot switchable option that you can add, or at least in my case, add instead of have on all the time, because now I've got that bright switch, which is going to give me that more kind of open top. And I think it does kind of spread things out a little bit. I can hear some lows added as well, but not substantially. So let's do this. Why don't I just turn on, before I start changing all the EQs to let you guys hear the sweep, I'll just turn on the boost. So the bright switch is off. So you can see as I start, or hear and see, as I start, using and implementing the boost, I can start dialing in a more kind of solo-esque sound, like that first solo that I used the Josh Williams guitar on, that 335. That's what I did. I just employed that and then just kind of kept dialing until I had the amount of gain I wanted. And that's still almost clean enough, really, to be your pedal platform. And then if you just want the boost on, if I go gain all the way up, if I wanted that to be more toppy, and this would be more kind of a standalone sound like on a session, but if I wanted it to be more toppy, I can just throw the bright switch. So lots of options there just between the two switches. Let me go back to, I'll kind of dial it maybe in this range, a little cleaner. Turn the gain all the way up. Here's the treble all the way up. All the way off. I like it about right there if I'm not employing the bright switch. Here's the mids. It's kind of a darker mid. I do sense some lows coming in, which I actually kind of appreciate. I mean, I like to leave it about right there. But if I want that type of low, I can be okay with rolling out the low end, because this is still a very Fendery low end to me. So here's the lows off. Lows mid, way up. It's already pretty big. And then lows all the way up. I just threw it to the back humbucker so you could hear it. The lows, I usually leave them about right there, but that's going to vary based on what kind of cab you're using and what have you. But that's the sweep of the EQ. Obviously, your volume, and really, I think of this as like volume and master, but in this case, it's called gain and volume. The volume control on this, the sweet spot for me is at about 2 o'clock. As you keep cranking it, you're going to get more actual power amp breakup. And then obviously you go the other direction. And then, of course, there's a 4-watt switch on there, so you can turn it, way down. That's kind of what's going on with with that volume control. Reverb, here's off. And I love the fact that there's a reverb on this amp. Let me go ahead and dial this up a little bit first. Here's the reverb. Pretty cool kind of spring, almost slash plate sounding verb. All the way up. Really nice sounding verb. Now, as you play with more gain, then you adjust the reverb accordingly. So I just turned on the boost so I could get some more bark out of it. But that's how that sounds. Really cool. The one thing I did, because I wanted to stay away from using a bunch of pedals, especially overdrive pedals, is I did use my tilt boost, which is, well, ain't that something? It's not in the shot, but that's okay. I'll take a picture of it so you can see it. It's a tilt boost by REVV. Dan and I designed it together. It's basically a clean boost with an EQ. So when I wanted to get that last solo tone, I believe I used the boost on the amp, but didn't crank the amp as much, and I hit it with the tilt boost. That's what I did. I kept the bright switch out. Yep. I don't know, I kind of like it with the bright switch. Actually, I like it with the bright switch. So right now I'm just adjusting the tilt boost. I'm making it so it's a little bit brighter, a little more toppy. So that's the REVV D20 Mark II. If you've got any other questions about it, obviously go to the website and check things out. And yeah, as always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.